Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. Today I want to talk about an experience I had as a young angler, probably in my early teens. It was right when I first started fishing tournaments that I had regarding line twist that opened up my eyes. It's something that I think oftentimes prevents anglers from fully experiencing the best fishing that they can have at certain times because they allow line twist to prevent them from really using the baits that they should. So I want to get into that. Before I do want to point out, guys, that most of the people watching my videos still are not subscribers to the channel. And if you happen to watch on a regular basis, by all means, guys, please subscribe to the channel. It's a great way to show some support. Also, if you're looking to purchase some tackle from Tackle Warehouse and want to support the channel, please use my Tackle Warehouse affiliate link that I provide in the video description as well. All right, so when I was a young angler, I had just gotten into tournament fishing. I remember talking to an individual that cashed the check in the event. At that point, man, you show up at a tournament and it's like you just want to cash a check. It was one of those things where I hadn't done it yet and I was always trying to learn to get better. And I remember we were putting a boat on the trailer. At that point, it was a 16-foot aluminum sea nymph with a 40-horse Johnson. That was the motor in the boat that I started tournament fishing out of. And it was really intimidating when you go to put that aluminum boat on the trailer and everyone else around you had, nice fiberglass bass boats at the time. But I remember talking to another angler. This was on the Fox Channel Lakes, and he told me that he caught his fish using a Mr. Twister top prop. Now, if you guys remember that bait specifically, it was kind of like a floating buzzbait blade that then had a hook that had a plastic trailer on the back. And I remember so vividly talking to this individual about it. And at first I was just completely flabbergasted that he used the bait because I had also used it and I had not good action with it and I really put it away because of the fact that it was a bait that caused a lot of line twist, meaning your line goes directly to that prop, the prop spins, it just causes a lot of line twist. And I stopped using it really quickly because at that point, if it caused line twist, I didn't want to use it because I didn't want to have to respool my reels up with new line. And line twist was really something that caused me a lot of trouble and angst as a young angler. And in that conversation I had with that angler, when I said, "Oh, I didn't know anyone liked to use the top prop," and I was like, "I don't like to use it because it causes line twist," his response back to me was clearly, "Well, don't let the line twist stop you from fishing the bait." And what he was telling me was if the bait works and you catch fish on it, line twist might be something you have to deal with. The unfortunate thing is a lot of our best baits out there do cause line twist. When you're talking about a drop shot or a plopper style topwater or inline spinners, a lot of baits that we use, if you throw them all day long, will lead to you having pretty severe line twist by the end of the day. But his message to me was simply, these baits catch fish. And if they catch fish, you're going to have to deal with some of the negatives of the baits. And the reality is, at this point in my career, I am okay with line twist. As much as it still drives me nuts, I'm okay with it if I'm catching fish. So I'd much rather be catching fish and deal with line twist than not catching fish and not have line twist. To me, it's just one of those things where it's kind of like, okay, this is part of the game. If you're going to use a bait that causes line twist, you got to deal with it. So the point here is don't let it deter you from fishing the right bait at the right time. If you think that they're on a great plopper or choppo style bite, throw it. You may get a little line twist, but it's okay because you might be catching a lot of bass doing it. A drop shot causes a lot of line twist. You know what? Drop shot's a hard bait to beat. As much as I think they suck overall, they're a great bait and they catch fish, but you'll have line twist at the end of the day. So you gotta put up with it. But there are a few things that you can do to limit the line twist. One of the things I talk about on the channel a lot is using small swivels, barrel swivels, like these little Sampo swivels. These are the size 10. They're, I think, a 1/4 inch long overall. If I pull one out, I'll drop it on the floor and I'll never find it. That's how small they are. So if you're, doing drop shots, something like this little swivel is a great way to connect your main line to your leader line. If you're using something like a Chapo or an inline spinner, don't be afraid to just use a snap swivel. At that point, you're talking about a small swivel connecting to a big bait anyways. In my opinion, the fish aren't going to be able to tell the difference, and that swivel is going to limit a lot of your line twists. So that really does make a difference. One tip I learned a long time ago was to simply cut your bait off, release a lot of your line out as you're, say, idling, along an area of the lake. And what happens there is, because your line is in the water, your line has tension on it, and it will actually untwist your line. So if you do that a couple of times throughout the day, you can get rid of the line twist, and you're basically starting over. That's something that I love to do, especially at the end of each day fishing. If I've got, sometimes you have like a no wake that you need to go through to get back to the boat launch. It's not uncommon at all for me to snip my bait off. I'll let out a bunch of line, and I'll just get that line twist off so that when I start the next day fresh, I don't have to deal with the line twist. It's a simple tip. It makes a bunch of difference. At the same time, if you want to limit line twist, you can use more braid. Braid generally still gets the line twist, but it doesn't react the same way to the line twist. It's one of those things where you don't get the big coils and the backlashes, but you still do get twist on the braid. It's just as easier. It handles that line twist better. So that's something you can do. If you don't want to use straight braid, you can still use a braid to fluorocarbon or monofilament leader. And at that point, you'll get the twist on that leader section, but that's a lot easier to change. You can cut off, 10 feet of line, put on a new leader, and start fresh from that standpoint. So that's something that you can do. I don't necessarily recommend just completely changing an entire spool of line. I feel like that can be a waste, because you can do things to remove that line twist, like I was saying, where you can let out a bunch of line behind the boat, and you can get, for the most part, you can get all that line twist out. But really, the moral of this little tip is simply, unfortunately, line twist could be a result of using some fantastic baits, and you may have to deal with it. But for sure, do not let the line twist deter you from using the right bait at the right time. It's much better to catch the fish and deal with line twist than to throw the wrong bait in under the right situation and not catch anything at all, just so you don't have line twist. And you'd be amazed how many anglers out there are avoiding baits that cause line twist. And in my opinion, they're not catching as many fish as they could be under certain circumstances. So hopefully, guys, you learn from this. You go out there, you use the baits, regardless of whether they cause line twist, and you catch more fish. So hopefully you enjoyed this video today, guys. Thanks for watching. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Stay tuned, new tip video coming out tomorrow.